your butt. That's exactly right.
Hello there, my crypto big brothers and sisters out in the world. How are you today? Ron and I are having fun this morning.
Anytime I get my shorts in a or my panties in a, Rod likes it, man.
Ron's on fire this morning.
Folks, we're not trying to be so negative every day, but this stuff that's out there, it's like, it just drives you nuts. And we feel we need to bring some of this forth. Anyway, Rod and Rod's familiar with a lot of this stuff. The first article might not tie into crypto, but it does tie into with what we're going to talk about. So we wanted to kind of, and it's kind of an obscure, the article's kind of out there. Take it for what it's worth, okay?
Okay.
But we got reading about it a little bit, and maybe we'll read a couple sentences out of this. Let me move that mic a tad, but no, we don't even want to show the title to this, Rod. Don't you think that's a little far out there?
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's just the way the guy titled it. All right, here's the title, folks. We're going to show you.
You just talked yourself into it, didn't you?
Yeah, I know.
Hell.
The globalist satanic agenda is coming to a city or light pole near you with the rollout of 5G across America. 5G death zones, he calls it, are sure to follow. Now, folks, we all know what 4G is, and Rod, you're more the tech guru than I am, but this is the high-speed technology. Is that right? Well, 5G is supposed to be the next up-and-coming thing.
Next level.
And evidently they're installing these in a lot of light posts and, trying to get everybody this high-speed stuff and all that. But just a couple sentences out of this, and then we'll move on. Now, this is reported by Natural News. Now, is Natural News that Health Ranger guy? Look it up, would you? Look it up and see if Natural News is that Health Ranger guy. But he's got a pretty good website. I've looked at stuff. And anyway, it says, as Natural News reported within his May 22nd story, scientists recently warned that 5G tech found in Wi-Fi street lamps in the UK is causing insomnia, nosebleeds, and stillbirths within pregnant women. And while authorities there claim people must ignore these conspiracy theories about the alleged dangers of 5G, there was a member of the group, the world's largest, anyway, he came and says, no, this stuff is accurate and it is causing problems. So Rod and I got talking about this a little bit, and when we read that part about, the government is calming people's fears and just infatuated that everything's cool, we got saying, well, when has the government ever told us the truth anyway? and if they don't,
this is how Ron got all heated up.
Oh man, and then if they don't want you to know something, they just say it's national security and we can't know anyway.
Yeah.
So the only things they talk about are the things they're going to lie about, almost. Well, look at all the United States organizations we have. We have the Food and Drug Administration, FDA. When have they ever told you the truth about what's healthy and what's good? They shove sugar down our throats and say it's... Matter of fact, on the 5 food groups, they've even added sugar as a food group. Can you believe that? Refined sugar? Are these guys out of their freaking minds or what? So you got the Food and Drug...
They're just trying to make all parents... crazy.
Well, they're doing it.
Your kids sugar and watch them bounce off the wall.
That's right. And look at how, what's that disease that has just grown like crazy? Anyway.
Diabetes?
No, it's these kids are all, what are these kids? They're all something nowadays. Hyper, and they're all autistic.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah, that's like 50%. Now they're saying all kids are I think that's the term. But then the Food and Drug, they protect these pharmaceutical companies till their dying breath, like those drugs are supposed to be held. All those drugs do is subside your symptoms. It's the symptoms, folks. It doesn't cure the ailment that's really going on in your body. They're taking care of the symptoms. I have a cough, I give you a cough lozenge. I don't go and say, well, why is this guy coughing?
No, you take brandy.
That's your cough medicine, I know.
Very brandy. You betcha, baby.
So then they got these other organizations. They got one on weather and climate and all that, and they're a bunch of lion snakes too. And so anyway, Rod and I just got thinking about all these governments. So why should we believe these yahoos that come forth and say, hey, 5G's good? I would rather believe the conspiracy theorists and do some research. Folks, we're not saying this is legit or right. We're just saying it's just kind of interesting that I don't even know how we're
coming in. This Natural News was the Health Ranger.
Okay, it is him. He's pretty
he
legit.
Used to be on YouTube, and YouTube decided to delete his whole channel.
I know. Every video he had on there.
They're playing freaking. Well, I better not say anything.
I know what you're headed, and I think everybody else knows too, but the Health Ranger is the guy that took a box of cornflakes and put a magnet over it, and it was pulling up metal shavings out of the cornflakes.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's got all kinds of cool stuff on there.
Oh, he used to.
All right, let's get into the topic now and how this is going to tie into crypto. We're just going to read a couple quick headlines. This one here, Department of Justice and CFTC reportedly investigating cryptocurrency price manipulation. Now, why all of a sudden are they concerned about price manipulation and all? And in the article, they were talking about how they discussed Mt. Gox and how some of these bots were buying and selling at hyperspeed and fluctuating the price. And then they talked about the three ways that the stock market the prices can be manipulated and fluctuated using these certain ways. And they're saying this is also probably into crypto now, and we need to investigate that. We're going to tie that in. And then, of course, we knew about Coinbase. You know, they're finally getting sued now for insider trading. You'll remember when Bitcoin Cash just absolutely went nuts on the market. Evidently, they're thinking some people on the inside of Coinbase kind of knew about some things. And anyway, they kind of made the price jump crazy and cashed in on that and so on. And then, what's this title, Rod? Oh, yeah. This ties in with what we're going to talk about, too. Crypto traders clamor for more market regulations. We got to get rid of this price manipulation, and we need more regulation to make it all work properly. So as Rod and I got talking about this, it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe what this deals with, this ties into a previous couple videos that Rod and I have done about the government and bankers getting heavily into crypto. And maybe what the end result's going to be long term down the road of getting rid of decentralized cryptos and those currencies and installing like a IMF coin, a global coin, or the Fed coin for the United States government, or whatever it is. So to arrive at that end goal, they need to start setting a foundation now. I'm not saying this is it. This is just some of the thoughts that we have thought about. So if we're eventually going to ban decentralization and cryptos, those coins and currencies that are on the decentralized side, if we're going to ban them in 2020 or wherever the case, we need, just like everything else they do, we need to set a foundation now and start working our ways to show the people why we need to get rid of it. Price manipulation is a good reason. If we can't control these decentralized markets and people can manipulate the price all the time and screw those poor investors that don't do their homework and don't have the money to actually risk. So we're going to protect them by just saying we're done with Bitcoin, we're done with Litecoin, and so on. And the alternative, if everybody still wants a real digital coin, is we have this IMF global coin right here. And that platform that's stable, we regulate it. Nobody's going to have any problems with theft and manipulation.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying this is why this is going on, but it crosses Rod and I's mind that, hey, maybe they're starting to set a foundation for this. Comments, Rod?
Yeah, they use in trades and also in crypto trades, they use these spoofing techniques. These dishonest traders or buyers or whoever it is, it's called spoofing, and that's the act of tricking innocent investors into buying or selling based off a certain fake determined in the market. Yeah. And a fake market, so it's called spoofing. Then they also use a thing called wash trading, and wash trading is the act of buying via one broker and then selling that purchase through another in order to trick other investors into buying portions of an illegal influence. See, so you can't do that either, and yet they do it. And so because of these con men, if this is call a spade, they're con men, guess what? These guys are going to go and the government, meaning Big Brother, we got to protect the little guy because he doesn't know this stuff. We're going to protect him. So they start making these little laws. And like Ronka, they're a bunch of snakes because they do a little at a time and they kind of sneak around saying, and then when the public gets really, hey, I've been spoofed. Hey, I've been wash traded. Hey, I need this because I didn't have the money and I wanted to invest in it, but I didn't have the money. I need help. So guess what? The government comes in and says, okay, we're going to help those that are hollering. And unfortunately, because some of us don't do our own homework or look at stuff the way it should be looked at, and you have to, then that's how come we have all these government regulations and controls. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
But that's exactly how it works.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just found something I was looking at here, and I'm not, Rod, you explained it perfectly about what I was trying to get off, that they've got to start now to build the foundation so later on.
Yeah, it may not be till 2013 or 20 or
but that's how they operate.
2015 or 2035, but it don't matter. They'll get in and one of these days start regulating it. But until then, right now, when the prices are down, since the whalers are in there manipulating it right now, and they're bringing the prices down, buy, because it's all on sale. And Ron and I just bought some, a very little bit. Don't get me wrong, because we just don't have the money. We're retired, but we do buy little slivers here and there. And if you buy while it's down, if you buy while it's down, then when all this stuff gets ready to hit the fan, you can sell it because you know the prices will be way up by then. I mean, that's our logic. Now, your logic can be something else.
Yeah. But, listen, it reminded me of a quote by the German, back in World War II, their propaganda minister, Joseph
Goebbels.
Mm-hmm. And this is a quote from him. If you tell a lie big enough and keep repeating it, people will eventually come to believe it.
That's true.
And it's the same with our government today. If they continually harp on something, it's good, or it's bad, they convince a majority of the people. It's just like when they're ready to go to war, they're going to start putting war propaganda out there. Why we should go and attack Iran. All these things are happening, and they just kept beating that horse till a lot of us say, yeah, go after them suckers.
And that's the reason
and
why
you don't even know if
in
it's
Afghanistan. That's the reason why we need to be here and there and killing people, and them killing us, especially them killing our boys.
So
we don't need all that crap.
But this is how it starts. They just start the propaganda, and we fall in line and start to believe it. And anyway, folks, it just, again, we're just being cautious. We just want to bring you an opposing view of maybe, just maybe, where this stuff's headed in the long term. And by being aware of it, you'll know when you need to get out. And hopefully, I don't know, we want the decentralized. We want it to be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's the reason why we mainly got involved. And it seems like just in the past year, things have really started to move faster towards centralization and getting away. But as long as we are decentralized ourselves, and how do you do that? We put our own wallets. We have our own wallets offline. We are decentralized from. We're not part of the freaking establishment over there. Look what happened to Coinbase. You know, I wouldn't buy shit from them right now because of the way they are and what they're doing and helping this manipulating of the market and stuff. You know, but anything else, you know, go for it. And there's a hell of a lot more exchanges out there that we can use to buy crypto from. You know.
That's right.
Anyway.
Well, thanks, Rod.
Thank you, Bet. Thank you. Thank you for joining us, folks. Sorry to be so negative. We don't mean to be, because we're usually not negative. And that old saying I got on my mirror, it says, happiness is a choice, and I choose to be happy, and I do look at things positive. Ron and I usually do. We're always positive about a lot of things, but there is some things in the news that's happening that we want to be aware of, but we want you to know that crypto is the best thing we got right now, besides the metals and everything. You don't want to put all your money in one pot. So keep it up, study, do your thing, and God bless.